topic, okay? Hope all is well, by the way. Hope everybody's doing amazing. If you're dealing with fibroids, let me know in the chat. Let's talk about it. I want this to be an interactive live, and gonna be here also to answer questions as well, so that we can get a deeper understanding of what's going on when we have fibroids. Because again, like I always say in all my lives, and I sound like I'm always like recording. I feel like I'm always like repeating myself, but that's a good thing. So I know we always have new women on the lives. Okay, so welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're watching from YouTube, welcome as well. Be sure to click the thumbs up button and share this video with somebody you know that has fibroids. Good evening, Nashima. Hope that you're doing well. All right, so let me know in the chat where you guys are watching from. Don't be shy. As we get into today's topic, go ahead and like the video, okay, so that we can get more women in here. Because again, this is important for women to understand. When it comes to fibroids, you're not the only one dealing with that. Jamaica, welcome, welcome. I want to be in Jamaica sometime this year. I love Jamaica. Okay, welcome, welcome. Happy that you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know in the chat where you guys are watching from. Okay, so let's get to it. Welcome. Hey, YouTube. Let's get to it. So what's stopping you from getting rid of your fibroids? Okay, before we get into it, for those that are new, if you're new, let me know in the chat as well. If you're watching me for the first time, welcome. Okay, watching me live for the first time, hi, welcome. I'm beginning lots of new followers lately, so happy that you're here. For those that are new, my name is Sasha. I'm a holistic womb specialist, and what I do is I help women who have fibroids, endo, ovarian cysts, and other womb issues. I help them get to the root cause of the issue. Okay, I help women get to the root cause and completely heal from fibroids, completely get rid of endometriosis, ovarian cysts, adenomyosis. I help women address the real root causes of these things, because we cannot get rid of any issue, especially a health issue, without getting to the root cause of it. I help women also restore their hormonal balance, which is extremely important, because if we have fibroids, if we have cysts, if we have these issues, then we also have hormonal balance, and we have a toxic overload in the body. So you have to address those, okay? Okay, hey, Noelle, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna start fibroid treatment in June because my fibroid is over 6 centimeters. So I don't know what fibroid treatment you're gonna do, but I'm gonna say this. Treatment typically is temporary and doesn't address the root causes. Like I always say, y'all, get to the root cause of the problem. So I don't know what fibroid treatment is, because people are always messaging me on here asking for fibroid treatment. I say I don't do fibroid treatment. We do fibroid healing and dissolving, right? We don't do treatments. Treatments are temporary, okay? That's what the doctors give treatments. We do healing, right? We get to the root cause. We do the hard work of getting to the root cause of why those fibroids develop. Because I need you guys to know that if you have fibroids, there's a reason why they develop. They did not come out of nowhere. Fibroids did not come out of nowhere, right? There's a reason why they developed in your body. It's important for you to understand and know that, so that you can prevent yourself from, having reoccurring fibroids. How many women, and there was a woman I posted as well that took my course, that before taking my course, she had a myomectomy. The fibroids grew back. She had a UFE procedure. The fibroids grew back, because that's what they do when you don't get, to the root cause of the problem. And then her fibroids, again, when it came back the third time, they got so big they made her look pregnant. And you can see her before and after picture on my page that I posted. And she took my course, and her fibroid belly almost completely dissolved. If you look at her before picture, she almost looked like 9 months pregnant. Her stomach was that big, okay? So I get it, but it's all about you actually doing the real work, getting to the root cause of the problem. You can do what you want, but if you don't get to the real work, you're gonna develop fibroids again and again and again and again. And a lot of us are looking for quick fixes, and that's the problem. You looking for a quick fix is gonna be your own detriment, right? And when it comes to fibroids, it's typically women that are desperate, looking for answers instead of understanding and knowing, why did my fibroids develop? That's important, okay? And as you guys are coming in, let me know in the chat. If you're dealing with fibroids, put a 1 in the chat. If you're watching from YouTube, hi, welcome. Put a 1 in the chat if you're dealing with fibroids, so I can know I'm talking to the right audience, like I always say, because I know, especially TikTok, they just show my videos to anybody. Well, okay, thank you. I see some ones. Okay, I want to make sure I'm talking to the right crowd. Okay, come on, YouTube. If you guys have fibroids, let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, so what's stopping you? What's blocking? And if you've tried to get rid of your fibroids, let me know in the chat as well. If you have done the work to try to get rid of your fibroids, if you are on the journey of trying to get rid of your fibroids, put in the one in the chat. If you were on my live yesterday, someone that took my course last November, that bought my course last November, hey, Lady Contemplate, hey, how are you? She went from 15 fibroids to 2. She was on the live yesterday. From 15 fibroids to 2, okay? She went from 15 fibroids to 2. All right, so can you speak about endometriosis too? What about endometriosis? So this live is about fibroids. I do want to say endometriosis. I do work with women that have endometriosis as well. So let me know in particular what you want, like, what's your question about endometriosis? Yes, I've had 2 surgeries and they're still there. Oh, I'm happy thank you for sharing, because women, I'm going to be honest with you, more women need to hear that. Because I bet you that in this chat, somebody has a surgery plan right now. In this live stream somewhere, I pinned your comment, somebody has a surgery plan right now. So ladies, you guys need to hear that. We got to stop cutting into ourselves, right? Cutting into our uteruses, because guess what? They're causing uterine scarring. A lot of women are coming to me that have, adhesions and scarring due to previous surgeries, right? Some of you guys know, some people don't know. They may have it, they don't know. Right? So these uterine surgeries that you're having, they cause scarring when they're cutting into the uterus, right? I have 2. One is 20 centimeters, the other is 17 centimeters. That's a big one. Those are big ones, okay? But big fibroids can still dissolve. They take time, but they can still dissolve, okay? I'm going to say this, though. It's important to, and I want to say this, and I'm saying this thank you so much for sharing, Sunshine. I want to tell every woman this, right? Because I know that some women are listening and they may have smaller fibroids. Do not wait until your fibroids get really large before you start taking action. Because I see a trend of women waiting until, and I'm not saying that's you, Sunshine, I'm just saying in general, women tend to wait till the issue gets so big before they're like, okay, I have to deal with it now. Until they're literally bleeding out, until they're so anemic that they're so exhausted all the time, to the point where they're literally operating at 20% of their capacity. I'm seeing women wait until so late until they actually start doing something about their fibroids, and you don't want that to happen. If you have fibroids, let's say you don't have any symptoms, start now, because it gets worse. If you don't get to the root cause of the problem, it just gets worse. It just gets worse, right? So instead of waiting until it gets sometimes women, we have to do better about waiting until things get so bad with our health before we solve them, right? This is a part of this is a lack of self-worth, and that's deep, and that's associated with fibroids too. Because remember, I always say fibroids is also an energetic issue. Okay, I didn't know I didn't have any. Okay, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying in general. Okay, and so I'm happy that you said that as well. I just found out I had them. They hurt. We do have symptoms a lot of times, and a lot of times we have the symptoms, we just don't know that they're symptoms. If you have heavy bleeding, that's a symptom. If you have pain, any type of pain during your period, that's a symptom. If you have pain during sex, that's a symptom, right? If you have brown blood on your period, that's a symptom as well. And not saying that if you have these things, then for sure you have fibroids. These are just fibroid symptoms, right? If you have back pain on your period, that's a symptom. If you have constipation, and you're dealing with all of these symptoms, and you have a periods that last longer than 3 to 4 days, those are symptoms. A lot of times we don't know what are symptoms or not. Your hormones, none of us develop fibroids out of the blue. Your hormones have to be out of balance before you develop fibroids, right? Your gut has to be backed up before you develop fibroids. Your lymphatic system has to be congested before you develop fibroids. So they're going to be signs. It's just that a lot of women don't know that those are signs for toxicity in the body, for fibroids. And when you have fibroids, you have an overload of waste in the body. You have an overload of toxins in the body. Your elimination organs are not getting rid of toxins like they're supposed to, right? So your liver is not operating at its full capacity. There's an issue with the liver. It's overloaded with toxins. There's an issue with the kidneys. It's not filtering out like it's supposed to. So that's the issue, because what happens is when we have fibroids, we're keeping a lot of waste in the body, we're also more susceptible to more health issues, right? Our body's not in a healthy state. We're not at an optimum level of health. And that's why you feel tired all the time. You feel drained all the time, right? You feel this heaviness all the time. It's almost like the fibroids weighing you down energetically and physically, right? So it's important to know that. So what's stopping women from getting rid of their fibroids. I'm gonna say that's number one. You know, waiting so long, right, until we do something about them. Not saying, let me just make this clear: a 20-centimeter fibroid can definitely shrink and dissolve. It's just gonna take it's gonna take a lot more time than somebody that has a 2-centimeter fibroid, for example, right? It's important. We need you teaching girls in school that, you know, maybe one day. I've had so many symptoms since childhood, teens, including chin hair. Maybe one day, but I have to get the millennials, Gen Xers first. You know why I say that? Even Gen Z. You know why I say that? Because if you guys understand and know this information, you could teach your daughters, right? You could teach your nieces. You could teach your cousin. You could teach the younger generation coming after us. The younger generation is suffering 10 times more than we did because of our lack of knowledge, because we're passing down toxins to our children, right? So you see little girls now getting their period at 7, 8, 9. That's way too early. That's a sign of hormonal imbalance. You see these signs like chin hairs. You see girls are bleeding out. They're having to stay home during their period. Those are signs that we're dealing with, like, hormonal imbalance early on. And the reason why this is so serious is because these same little girls are gonna grow up with these fibroids, or even at its worst, breast cancer, right? Or any estrogen dominant condition, right? So it's important. It's important that you learn this stuff and do and make the changes now, so you're not passing down generational womb trauma. A lot of us are passing along these toxins right to our children, right? So it's important. Yes, can we get some more likes on TikTok? What's going on TikTok? Can we get some more likes? Can we get the likes up? Thank you, Terry, for liking the video. Can we get the likes up? Let's get it up to 1,000, because these are things your doctors are not telling you. Like I always say in every video, your doctor's not telling you this stuff. A lot of women are confused about fibroids. They don't understand why you develop fibroids. They think fibroids just came out of the blue, or they think genetics is the reason. That's surface level thinking, right? We have to go beyond that. You weren't born with fibroids. You weren't born with fibroids. You may have been born with toxins leading up to that, but it's all about your habits, right? Your habits. So we gotta stop thinking surface level when it comes to fibroids, okay? So what's blocking a lot of women from healing from fibroids, I want to be honest with you, the over-reliance on the medical system. The reason why I say that is that a lot of women are very reliant on the doctors telling them what to do about their fibroids. The reason why that's a problem is because doctors don't heal. They treat, they diagnose, right? They medicate, they do surgery, they don't heal. So you are always going, like women that have fibroids, they're always in the doctor's office for something, whether it's ultrasounds, pap smears, annual exams, trying to get different, opinions about what they should do. You're always in there, and they don't have anything for you. They don't have anything for you but medications, surgeries, right? Or birth control. That's it. And a lot of you guys know that, but still going there for what? Because society tells you you're supposed to. Now, when it comes to if it's something serious, please go to the doctor. But I'm telling you, when it comes to your reproductive health, they can't heal you. When it comes to your fibroids, they can't heal you. So why are you there? To be medicated and cut into? They can't get to the root cause of the problem. They can't help you, rebalancing your hormones. All they can do is put you on medication, right? So they're just gonna mask the symptoms, right? That's what they kind of put you in this state where you are always trying to fix your symptoms and never fix the problem. You're never trying to fix the problem, okay? Yes, I was in tears crying after my doctor said surgery was my only choice. Thank God I found you. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, I get it. You guys know if you guys have been following me for any length of time, you know I went through my own journey as well, right? I have my whole story on fibroid, right? On YouTube. Over 10 years ago, being diagnosed and then have regrowing fibroids for the second time. Like, it's just, back then, horrible. And doctors don't give you any real options besides cutting you open, because again, this healthcare system is all about profit over people, right? They're not about healing. They're not about getting to the root cause of the problem. They're not going to tell you why you've developed fibroids. They don't care. They don't really care. So we heal by you got to address the root cause. of why you develop fibroids. You have to address the root causes. And that's the work that a lot of women don't want to do. And I've been doing these, you guys know, if you guys have been following me, I had a womb, I put out where you could book a womb healing clarity call with me. That has expired, but I put that out a few days ago. And I've been talking to more women and doing these consultation calls. And I'm like, because I have clients, like I like to work with people over time because that's where they get the most benefit, right? But I did have one-off consultation calls for Memorial Day, and I'm talking to people, and it's like I'm asking them what have they been doing to heal, and it's always a herb, a tea. It's never anything like getting to the root cause of the problem. So it's like we're in a perpetual state of just going from quick fix to quick fix and never getting to the root cause of the issue. And that's the issue. That's the issue within itself, right? Because if you develop fibroids, there's a lot going on in the body, like I mentioned beforehand, right? Where it backed up lymphatic system, backed up digestive system, overloaded liver, elimination organs that's not, like I said, that's elimination organs that are overloaded, the toxins in the body. So how is surgery going to fix that? The root cause, right? How is surgery going to fix the energetic reasons for fibroids, right? The things that we keep in the body, the negative emotions that we keep in the body that we've suppressed, that we haven't processed through, the trauma, the emotional trauma, the lack of self-worth, right? All of these things that are present, the wounded feminine, when you have fibroids, the wounded feminine energy, right? So the surgery is not going to address that. The medication is not going to address that. So you got to get to the root cause of the problem, not just physically, but also energetically. And that does take changes. You making changes upon your life. And that's where I'm going to get to my next thing. The reason why a lot of us avoid the real work is because we're afraid of change. And that fear of change, everybody naturally has the fear of change, but right? So having a fear of change is human. We naturally, it's like our brains kind of wants us to stay the same, right? Because whenever we think about change, it could be there's a lot of anxiety associated with that. So even if it's change that you know is going to better your life, right? Even if you hate your comfort zone, you know your comfort zone is hell on earth. Some of us will still cling on to that hell just to avoid change, which is absolutely, when you really think about it, it's absolutely insane. So you have to override that and push through that and actually want better for yourself, because when you start letting go of the habits that are causing fibroids to thrive, that are causing fibroids to thrive in your body, that cause fibroids to develop, then that's gonna be like a weight lifted off your chest. There's gonna be like a weight lifted energetically. You're gonna feel lighter. This is where healing starts. We gotta let go of those habits, right? So a lot of people have also a fear of change because they have the fear of it not working, right? That's always the fear too, right? What if I do all this and it doesn't work, right? That's always the fear. So when women are afraid of change and they're going on their womb healing journey to get rid of their fibroids, there tends to be inconsistent action. They're all over the place, right? They're doing it one day and then they're not doing it the next day. They're back to their old habits the next day. It's inconsistent, right? Or they're doing some things but not changing other things, right? So it's almost like you self-sabotage yourself without even really consciously realizing it, when you have this overlying fear of change. So you do have to overcome that, right? You do, because somebody said a few days ago that when you are healing your womb, it's a spiritual, emotional, and physical level up. And it really is. Because you're not just getting rid of the fibroids, you're also restoring your hormonal balance, because a woman whose hormones are out of balance is an out of balance woman, period. So you're restoring balance back into your body, right? You're connecting more with your femininity during this process, right? You're putting yourself first. Healing your womb is a powerful self-love journey, right? You are aligning with self. You are aligning with really who you are. And actually doing things that make you happy and make you thrive, right? Instead of you just trying to numb the pain with, this horrible lifestyle and not taking care of yourself, which a lot of women do, right? So when you have fibroids, a lot of times you're living, it's almost like you're a shell of yourself. You're not even your true self. You're a shell of yourself. You're living a life that you're overwhelmed. You're not happy. You don't like your job. It's all of these things, right? You don't know your purpose. A lot of women don't know their purpose because there's a misalignment with self. There's a misalignment with their intuition. There's a misalignment with them. There's a blockage there, because fibroids is not just a blockage in the uterus. It's a blockage on an energetic level as well. It's energetic these emotional blockages that can stop you, that block your creativity, that block you. Because as women, we're connected to the spirit realm, in case you guys don't know. Okay? We're very intuitive. And there's a blockage there when we're dealing with fibroids, because we've created these hormonal imbalances. Our gut, even our gut is backed up, right? Our elimination organs are backed up. So it's like we're not operating at our full capacity, right? I hope that makes sense. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I know that everybody's not gonna catch that, but so there could be a fear of you losing change. There's a fear of you losing control, right? There's a fear of not being able to heal, right? So based off that, a lot of women will have inconsistent action, or they won't start at all. They will continue going from, there's people that I know that a lot of people that follow a lot of people that talk about fibroids, because people always tell me, oh, I follow like so many people that talk about fibroids, like on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. And I'm like, that's great and all, gathering information, but a lot of us are gathering information and not doing anything with it. So what's the point of perpetually just gathering information if you're not doing anything with it? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time, right? And if you're following so many people and everybody's saying something different, I'm like, that's another thing too. So you just, instead of actually taking action, you just freeze. You don't really do anything with it. So what's the point of you keep gathering? What's the point, right? So we have to stop being information gatherers, because information overload is real. Information overload is real, right? And when you're overloaded with information, you don't do anything about it. What about food? So yeah, you definitely want to change your diet, right? You want to change your entire lifestyle, right? It's not, because when I talk about diet, people think it's only diet and that's it. It's not only diet, but you want to change your entire lifestyle. But yeah, food is definitely something you have to. If you have fibroids and you're trying to heal, you have to eat a diet that's going to help you do that. You can't eat a diet that goes against that, right? So, and when and even people that tell me, oh, I eat clean, I eat healthy, and I'm on the call with them, and I'm like, this is not a womb healing diet, right? So that's another thing. That's another issue as well, right? If your digestive system is backed up, which it is if you have fibroids, why are you eating things that are going to back it up even more? Why are you eating things that are going to be hard for your body to digest, right? So you have to eat more easily digestible foods, and foods that are going to fill your body with nutrients, right? Because we have to work on that gut health as well, because gut health is very important to fibroid healing. Is raw plant foods only ideal, or are cooked plant foods important too? So if I'm going to be 100% honest, when it comes to raw, it's superior. I'm not saying you can't eat cooked foods. I'm not saying that, right? But if you're like, which one is is better? Raw always, right? You're literally eating the nutrients. Once you cook it, you lose some of those nutrients. But you could do cooked foods as well, right? But if you want to like balance it out, I would say if you want to kind of balance, do both. If you can go fully raw, go fully raw. But if you want to kind of balance it out, you could do one cooked meal and then everything else raw. You could do that, okay? So, and you still get a lot of benefits from eating a mostly at least raw diet. All right, so inconsistent action. And let me know in the chat if this is you. And don't feel bad, right? Because we're trying to override that. You're welcome. Like if you are taking inconsistent action, right? So maybe you change your diet, you drunk a tea, but that's it, right? Or you change your diet and it's like sometimes you eat what you're supposed to be eating, and sometimes you go back to your old ways, right? You're taking inconsistent action and you're lacking patience, right? That's another thing too. The ones that are not doing the work are the most impatient. It's crazy to me, right? The ones that are not putting their all into the work tend to be the most impatient, right? So when you understanding that when you give the body what it needs and you take out the things that are blocking the healing, that are blocking your body from cleansing, you're going to get results, right? When you are addressing your emotional well-being as well, when you're putting yourself first, when you're taking care of yourself. Again, I say this is like a self-love journey. Healing the womb is like a self-love journey, right? When you're doing that, again, you are healing your body, right? Energetically and physically. Please like and subscribe. Yes, if you're watching from YouTube, please put the thumbs up button and subscribe, okay, if you're not subscribed already. And if you're watching from TikTok, definitely also get on my YouTube channel. I have tons of live videos on YouTube, okay? I go live, been live every day this week. All right, I have tons of live videos on YouTube, so click the link in my bio, subscribe to my YouTube as well, okay? Be sure to do that. Now, and if you guys have other questions, please put them in the chat as we go along. Now, another thing too is A lot of what also blocks, this one is huge. What also blocks like healing from fibroids, healing your womb, is when you don't address the emotional and energetic blockages, right? So when this is not fully addressed, the body can't heal. The body has to feel safe in order to heal. The body has to be in a parasympathetic state to heal. You can't be in fight or flight mode. So if you are, I'm gonna give you an example. If you're like engaging in toxic relationships, toxic friendships, engaging with toxic family, if you're in a toxic environment, then your body can't heal in that state, right? And that's affecting you mentally. Your body can't heal in that state, right? So a lot of women, like I said, maybe in toxic relationships, or always constantly in drama, right? And your body is, or you may be at a job that really takes a lot from you emotionally, right? Where you're really unhappy. Now, when people are in that situation, I tell them to kind of and they can't get out of that situation, quickly, I say you have to kind of work with that for a bit, right? And do other, and see whether you can make some modifications there. But you don't never want to be in a place that's toxic. A lot of women they just endure toxicity, wherever that is, whether it's at work, whether it's, their relationships, they just sit there and endure, not put themselves first, right? Allow people to treat them any type of way. And when you're on your healing journey, that changes. Like when you are truly healing your womb, you're going to look at life from a different lens. You're going to look at people from a different lens. You're not just going to want to collect people around you just to say you have them around you. You're going to look for people, like people of value, that are like-minded, right? That are good people, that have your best interests at heart, that are not just out here drinking and just throwing their life away, like out here drinking, partying, and not serious about their life, right? You're gonna have different standards for yourself, your relationships, your friendships, right? And that's important, because a lot of people don't have standards for themselves and the people around them, which is sad. Does healing fibroids make a discharge? No, it should not. It should not. Discharge, if we're discharging daily, and let me just say this too. The only time you should see discharges during your ovulation week is during a few days before ovulation and a few days after. So there's like a week of where you're gonna see like cervical mucus, like the egg white consistency. But other than that, you should not discharge. If you do discharge, we have lots of toxins in the body, okay? Because when you start to heal, what's gonna happen is that you're not going to see discharge. Yeah, a lot of times fibroids comes with discharge, right? So as we start to heal, that's a symptom that will also clear up, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Guys, if you guys have questions, keep asking them, keep on. But remember that when you have negative emotions, when we're holding on to things, when we're holding on to negative emotions, when we're holding on to negative feelings, right? Or trauma that we have not dealt with. And some people may not know that they're holding off to things. If things have happened to you, you've gone through traumatic experiences, which we all have, and you haven't dealt with them and processed them appropriately and released them, they're still there. They're still there, okay? They're still there. So if you haven't dealt with those toxic relationships you've been in, if you haven't dealt with, things that happened in your childhood, things that you went through, abandonment issues, rejection issues, whatever, sexual trauma, abortions, miscarriages, these things that are traumatic, if you haven't dealt with them and processed through them appropriate, they're still there. They're still there, right? It doesn't matter if you pick up and pretend it like it's fine. They're still there. They're still there. Those things get, like on an energetic level, they get put in the body. Our body keeps score, right? So the womb space, think of your womb space as, it's a portal as well. It's your creative portal, your feminine center, but it does always hold a lot of, energetically, a lot of, just like it's holding physically fibroids, it also does hold a lot of, toxicity energetically as well, right? So a lot of negative emotions, and this is why a lot of times you feel pressure down there as well. Yes, it's physically the fibroid, but also too energetically. And as you heal, that you start to feel lighter. You start to feel lighter energetically, right? So the womb space is also a storage a lot of times for negative emotions, for trauma that we really don't want to think about, don't want to deal with. We just store it energetically there, okay? So I want to make that clear. I didn't have discharge until I went plant-based. I had the IV last month. last year. I mean, what do you mean IV? What's IV procedure? Is that a new fibroid procedure? Or you mean IVF? Or is that what you mean? So it's important, okay? It's important. You want to deal with the traumas, the things that you haven't dealt with. We want to deal with them. We want to process through them, right? Because again, these things also create emotional blockages, which again turns to physical blockages in the womb. Okay, so deal with them, right? And we have to make sure that we address these issues. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so that's great. But what happens when the fibroid come back? We have to get okay. I know that some people are coming on my live. They're brand new. They haven't heard me really talk about this, right? Or they haven't really heard information about this. So I have to, consider that. It's not about procedures and surgeries. Those things don't get to the root cause. So what happens is that we just regrow the fibroids again. In the beginning of this live, I just talked about how one of my clients she had a UFE and a myomectomy. The UFE procedure, she had a myomectomy first. The fibroids came back, of course. Then she had a UFE procedure. They came back again. Okay? So then her fibroids were so big that literally she looked 9 months pregnant. Her uterus was the size of a 9-month pregnancy, right? And we're able to dissolve her fibroid belly, dissolve a lot of it, the fibroid belly, within a month. If you look at her before and after pictures, they're on my page, they're on my TikTok. But I want to say this. What you want to learn from that and other women's experiences as well is that surgery does not address the root cause. The root causes are still there. So when you have surgery, when you have any procedure, you're going to feel good at the moment until these issues come back. And I hope that does not happen for you. But what you want to do now is to avoid that happening is actually do the real work, because you have not done the work of getting to the root cause of the problem, because your hormones are still out of balance if you didn't address, these procedures don't address hormonal imbalance. They don't address, emotional blockages. They don't address why your body developed fibroids. They don't address the lymphatic system, the liver, all of these things that are overloaded when you have fibroids, right? So this is why women will continuously regrow fibroids over and over again. Sometimes I even heard somebody regrow fibroids 5 times after having different procedures. We got to get out of that. How many procedures are we going to have before we actually say, listen, how about I get to the root of this issue, right? And stop settling for short-term quick fixes, okay? So just want to make that clear, okay? So anybody else that's watching, if you've been on the fence about a procedure, but you're getting, your intuition is telling you to do it naturally, it's for a reason. It's for a reason, right? Any health issue, you don't get to the root cause of the problem, it'll become a reoccurring problem, right? Who wants to deal with fibroids again for the second time after having a procedure to get rid of them? It happens every day, all the time. There was somebody on here earlier that said that she had 2 surgeries for fibroids that came back. So why are we still doing this? It's 2025, ladies. We know they grow back with surgery. The same thing with endometriosis. Somebody told me to talk about endometriosis. The same thing. They grow back. So why are we not getting to the root of the issue? Right? So let's do long-term healing and over temporary quick fixes to feel better temporarily. Let's do long-term. It's better to feel better in the long term, right? Okay? Just saying. All right? So, another thing I want to say, that another mistake that stops women from getting rid of their fibroids, that blocks women from being able to shrink and dissolve their fibroids, is ignoring the root causes. This one is huge. This one is huge. A lot of women ignore the root causes of their fibroids. And sometimes they don't know that there's root causes, and I get that, but once you learn this, there's still women that will say, well, I just want to take a supplement and have the fibroids go away. That's not how it works. Stop ignoring the root cause. If you develop fibroids, right, your habits, your lifestyle, the lifestyle that you're living, the way you're living your life is not conducive to your healing, is not conducive to your health, right? So you have to make serious, powerful changes to your overall lifestyle. And yes, it's hard. Been there, done that. It's hard, especially at first. but it's worth it because this is where you find healing. This is where you find yourself as well. This is where you find happiness, true happiness, because been there with fibroids. Again, I tell you guys, what does fibroids represent in the womb, right? There's a lot of unfulfillment, unhappiness, unmet dreams, right? Unmet visions. There's a blocked creativity, and the womb is a very powerful vessel. It's very powerful. It is also a powerful spiritual organ, right? So if we have fibroids up in there, that's a reflection of what's going on in our life. That's a reflection of us having blockages in our life. That's a reflection of us having roadblocks in our life, being stuck, being stagnant, not able to get to the next level where we want to get to, wherever that is, right? Feeling like we're trapped. Sometimes there's unfulfillment, there's unmet needs, it goes deep. It goes deep, okay? So we have to do the real work. We got to do the real work, okay? And a lot of women, like I said, they don't understand, like, these issues this is why I do these lives all the time. I need you guys to know and understand what's going on with your body. When you have fibroids, you have to understand that. And I always say, I wish somebody out there was like me when I was dealing with fibroids 15, whatever years ago. I wish somebody was out there like me that was giving women the game, letting them know, listen, this is what's going on, right? This is what's going on, so that you know not to, when you're making decisions about what to do, they actually make sense. And you're seeing the full picture, not just half the picture. And remember, fibroids is just a symptom. It's just a symptom of a deeper issues going on in your body, right? So I want to make that clear. And as somebody that's helped hundreds of women get rid of fibroids, we had one of them on our live, yesterday, that went from 15 fibroids to 2, okay? And the 15 larger fibroids to just 2 left. I think she said 6 centimeters and 4 centimeters, the 2 left. I've helped so many women. I had one woman I was working with that was postpartum that went from 9 fibroids to 5. And all 5 of them shrunk significantly. And I've recently just messaged her and say, hey, where are we at now with the fibroids? She's like, don't worry, I'm gonna schedule an ultrasound. I know they're probably gone by now, because she's still on it, right? If you go to my client case study, I had a client that couldn't get pregnant for 2 years. She could not get pregnant for 2 to 3 years, actually, right? She came to work with me in my Detoxify Your Womb program. Not only did she end up getting pregnant, but she also ended up getting rid of her fibroids, and she had surgery twice previously for fibroids. She had lots of uterine scarring due to having surgeries due to fibroids, because like I said earlier, they cause uterine scarring. These surgeries cause uterine scarring, okay? She also had adenomyosis. She also had blocked tubes. She also had, what else? She had low AMH levels. They saw abnormal cells in her cervix. It was bad. She lost all hope. She was like, I'm 39. I don't see it happening for me, but this is my last hope, right? And at first she wasn't sure about a holistic path. I told her, listen, pray about it, come back to me. She ended up coming back. She worked with me for 6 months in my Detoxify Your Womb program, right? That's the length of the full program, right? And not only were we able to get rid of her fibroids, we were also able to unblock her tubes. This is all naturally. We were also able to raise her AMH levels at the age of 39, okay? We were also able to not just unblock her tubes, get rid of the uterine scarring. We're also able to have her uterus restore her hormonal balance. And when she got her sonogram later, they said that her uterus was much, much healthier, looked amazing. She was like, that's the first time that I've gone to the doctor and got a good report. And she said that they even saw healthy follicles on her ovaries. So a few months after that, she ended up getting pregnant naturally, okay? And she just had her baby boy earlier this year, okay? So beautiful. And if you want to read more about her story, I have it in my, you can go to the link in my bio. You'll see my client case study. You want to read more about her story, you'll see the receipts and everything in there. If you're watching from YouTube and you want to read more about her story, the link is in my description box, okay? You see client case study over there, okay? So does anybody have any questions, right? It's important as women that you understand what's going on with your body. That will block you. Not understanding the full picture is going to block your healing. You not understanding that, listen, fibroids also mean hormonal imbalances. You're not understanding that it also means that your body's not operating at its full capacity, that we're dealing with, a congested, a body that's filled with toxins, a body that's filled with waste, because these things are waste. They're excess waste, right? Because our bodies are so intelligently made that they're made to detoxify themselves, right? Your body is made to, and the elimination organs helps your body eliminate waste and toxins and excess hormones that actually are a detriment to your body's health, right? So when we have fibroids, that means that these systems are overloaded and it's not doing the job. So these toxins are staying in. They're staying in, right? And it's there. This is why you get the heavy bleeding. Your body's trying to get rid of, like, it's a mess. It's a mess. So your body, like I said, starts to malfunction when we have fibroids. This is why they start getting bigger. They start pressing on organs. You start dealing with, pressing on the bladder. You start dealing with frequent urination. You start dealing with the heavy bleeding. You get what is called the fibroid belly, where your belly kind of has that appearance of looking pregnant. It's this, and it just exhausts you and takes your life force. It affects all areas of your life. It affects your quality of life. One of my clients said that she no longer feels like a slave to her fibroids. The fibroids will make you feel like a slave. It will make you feel like you're a slave to the fibroids. They take over your body. They take over your happiness, right? They do, right? And you start to live your life based off your fibroids, based off your period. You can't go on vacation because you're gonna be heavily bleeding, right? At this time, like, no woman deserves to live like that. No woman deserves to live like that. And don't subject yourself for years and years of living like that. It makes no sense, okay? So anybody have any questions? I wanna say this for women that wanna work with me. I have my 2-month intensive where I'm working with, that starts on June 1st, this Sunday, where I'm working with women powerfully for 2 months. Not to get to the root cause of their fibroids, okay, in order to fully heal from fibroids, help them dissolve their fibroids. I was just talking, just earlier this week, I posted how one of my clients that work with me in my 2-month intensive, all 3 of her fibroids have shrunk. She worked with me earlier this year, okay? So it's our 2-month intensive inside of our signature program, instead of our Detoxify Your Womb program. So if you are interested in working with me powerfully for 2 months, you gotta be serious. This is a transformative journey in healing your body, healing your womb, okay? Restoring your hormonal balance. If you're serious about that, right? And you want to learn more information, the link is in my bio for the 2-month intensive. If you're watching from TikTok, if you're watching from YouTube, the link is in my description box. Is from June 1st through August 1st, okay? Anybody have any questions? That was a mouthful. Make sure you guys are also on the email list. If you're not on the email list, join the email list. The link is in my bio if you're watching from TikTok and YouTube. The link is should be in the description box. All right. I don't see any other questions, but I want you guys to know that your body is very powerful. Your body is a very powerful self-healing mechanism. What am I drinking? Water and with strawberries and key limes. How long does it take to, that was a funny question. How long does it take to shrink fibroids if you go aggressive with it? Okay, great. Okay, I get this question a lot, and I'm gonna say it over and over again, but thank you for asking that question. You don't wanna worry about the time, you just wanna worry about the work. The reason why I say that is because a lot of times when we're looking at how long is it gonna take, because that's because we wanna hurry up and do it and go back to our old habits. You can't have that mindset. You have to have this mindset of, no, this is my new life. This is my new life. If you don't have that mindset, you're gonna get the fibroids again. So typically, I'm not saying this to you, Butterfly, but typically when women ask me that question is because they wanna hurry up and do it and go back to their old habits real quick after they get rid of the fibroids. No, those fibroids will come right back, right? So you don't wanna, everybody's different. When women are working with me, I never tell them, hey, it's gonna take this long. Never. Because that would be lying. that would be unethical for me to say that, right? Because every woman is different depending on how aggressive she is, right? Because people say they're aggressive with it and they're ready to work, and then not everybody, because some people really are and they get crazy results, but some people come in and they kind of slow with it, which is okay, right? Everybody has their own, but even though I push you to do more, but everybody has their own capacity. Another thing too is that some women, how can I say this? Everybody's different. Some women have bigger 20 centimeter fibroids, some women have 2 centimeter fibroids, right? Some women have multiple fibroids, some people have 1 fibroid. It depends on the person. I can, that's a question I would never answer. But I will answer, if you do the work, it works, period. And 9 times out of 10, when you're aggressive with it, all of your symptoms should be gone within the first month. even if you have a 20-centimeter fibroid, yes, all of your symptoms, you start to feel better. You start to feel the anemia. All of it should be going within the first month if you know what you're doing. If you're working with me and you know what you're doing and you're going hard with it, yes, I can say that the symptoms. But as far as the fibroid, I can say that it for sure will shrink when you keep doing the work, but I can't give you a time. Okay. How do you know the fibroids are shrinking without going to a sonogram? You look at your symptoms. That's a good way to tell a lot of times. Now, for some women, everybody has different symptoms, so it depends on the person. I know a lot of women that have the bigger fibroids, especially, they tend to have the fibroid belly. So that starts to dissolve and shrink, right? Their periods start to get so much better, not as heavy. Your period should not be more than 3 to 4 days. It should not be more, it should not be, you should not be dealing with any cramps, brown blood. There shouldn't be days of spotting after or before. So their periods tend to get better. They should have a period like around every, like, let's say every 28 days, around that, right? It shouldn't be, you know, it's 20, it comes every 20 days one time, and then every 25 days. No, it shouldn't be that. So their period becomes healthier, regular, right? They are able to see cervical mucus while, you know, during ovulation. Their symptoms start to decrease and actually go away, you know. So that's why you know you're on the right track. And you start to feel better. You feel an overall sense of vitality. You sleep better. You just, you have more energy. You feel happier. You feel lighter, right? That's when you know you're doing the real work. So hopefully that makes sense. If your fibroids reach your belly button, can it cause your belly button to be sensitive to touch, sore? It can. It depends on the person. It can. But I know that for a lot of, yeah, if they're there, and they also, when they're high up like that, they can cause issues with like chest pain sometimes and breathing. So it can, depends on the person, yeah, depends on the person. But when your fibroids, let me say this too, especially for women that can feel their fibroids, which is a lot of women, or their fibroids cause them to have kind of like the extended belly, you be very careful. You don't want to do too many ab workouts. You don't want to do like really workouts that focus on the abs. Like you kind of want to, you know, so that's why it's sensitive. You want to stop that. You shouldn't be wearing any waist trainers to constrict your organs. No, because when you have fibroids, if you're trying to heal your womb, you want your organs to be working at their fullest capacity. They can't do that if they're constricted. So you guys that's doing a lot, I have to do more videos on that, because a lot of women that have fibroids are wearing the waist trainers. Y'all can't do that. Okay, you guys have to let it breathe. Any other questions? I'll take one more before we go. But again, if you want to work with me, the 2-month intensive starts June 1st. The last day we're taking clients for that is on Saturday, which is literally in 2 days. Okay, so that's for women that are ready. That's ready to heal. That's ready for real results and ready to heal. Okay. What causes a woman to have more bleeding during the cycle? It's so many factors, right? It could be fibroids. It's definitely an issue. So it's definitely, by default, it's hormonal imbalances and toxicity in the body by default. But it could be fibroids, could be endo, could be adenomyosis, could be ovarian cysts. It could be anything. But if you are bleeding more during your cycle, what you want to do is you definitely want to start making changes. You definitely want to restore your hormonal balance. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. All right. That's all. And a lot of women I'm happy that you asked. A lot of women will experience that and just think everything's just fine and say, oh, I got fibroids. I didn't have any symptoms. I'm like, you had symptoms. There's no way you didn't have symptoms. Your body talks to you, right? Our body talks to us through our symptoms. It's just that some of us ignore it and keep going, or some people wait until their symptoms get so bad and so debilitating before they do anything about it, which you don't want to do, right? Or what women will do is think that toxicity is normal. I'm gonna give you an example. A lot of women think that perimenopause symptoms is normal, and it's not. It's literally hormonal imbalance and toxicity. Because as somebody that's literally worked with clients in their 30s, 40s, 50s, all of their perimenopause symptoms go away when they're working with me, when we restore their hormonal balance. All of it. Okay? All of it. Does castor oil help with fibroids? I wouldn't even waste my time with that. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's about getting to the root cause of the problem. That helps with fibroids, okay? Getting to the root cause of the problem. Can we do these natural remedies? Yeah, but a lot of times a lot of people rely on healing from them. That's the problem, right? Let's get to the root cause of the problem. Any tips on hormonal acne? you want to restore your hormonal balance. Restore your hormonal balance, okay? If you need help with that, we do have, even the Fix Your Period course addresses hormones, but you want to address, you have to make changes to your lifestyle. You can put whatever you put on your face, any product, it's not about the product, it's about internally what's going on, okay? So I'm not a doctor. I actually help women heal, okay? So doctors don't, somebody also asked me if I was a holistic doctor. No, not a doctor. I'm a holistic womb specialist. Doctors don't help women heal. I help women heal, okay? And get to the root cause of the problem, okay? All right, that's pretty much it. All right, if you join my email list, click the link in my bio, join my email list, ladies. If you're not on the email list, if you want to work with me, check out our 2-month intensive inside of our Detoxify Your Womb program. The women have gotten tremendous results. Go through our testimonials. They are amazing. I've been getting testimonial after testimonial this week. I'm so excited. And yeah, okay? It's going to be, nobody wants to deal with fibroids and their symptoms during the summertime or ever, but definitely not during the summertime, because let's be honest, we can't enjoy life fully with these fibroids. You just can't. One of my clients went on her second vacation this month and was like, I could never do this when I had fibroids because I had to plan my life around my period because of the bleeding. So I want more women to be free. Lots of love from Belgium. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a lot of people from Europe that watch me, and I love that. You're welcome, Soleil, as well. You're welcome. I have a lot of people from Belgium that watch me. 2 periods in a month is a lot. Yeah, a lot of women that have fibroids and other reproductive health issues have 2 periods in a month. But the period, if your period comes every 20 days, every 3 weeks, that's definitely low progesterone. A lot of women that have fibroids also have that issue. Okay, so fibroids on its own is a lot. Heavy bleeding is a lot. Horrible periods are a lot, right? We gotta stop normalizing suffering. And the reason why a lot of women have been dealing with this stuff for so long, because they've normalized suffering in their life. And when you normalize suffering in one area, you are normalizing in other areas too. So you normalize suffering from fibroids and really bad cycles. You're gonna normalize suffering in maybe your relationships, your jobs, how people treat you. It spills over. I'm telling you this right now, right? So you can't say you have high standards when you have low standards for your womb, right? That's the feminine portal right there. You got low standards for your womb, but high standards and everything else. How does that work? That doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that. I smell BS. All right. So ladies, again, join my email list. Again, hopefully this live helped. If you came in late, you want to watch the replay for this live, then be sure to get on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube. We have tons of live stream. I'm streaming live from YouTube. If you're watching from YouTube, hi, welcome. Okay. Be sure to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. All right. Love you guys. You guys have a beautiful rest of your day. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.